Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. This is a Barbie set that I created. Now I'm going to be taking pictures so that you can see the set a little bit better, and I'll be posting them in my community tab if you're interested, so be on the lookout for that. But I hope you enjoy the video, and I will be popping back in to check in with you in a few moments. So I know we're still looking at the Barbie set, but today we are going to be making mold putty molds, right? With mold putty, but we are going to be customizing some molds so that we could create our own nail art, our own nail charms. If you have never used or have heard of this mold putty, I will be sure to link it down below if you're interested in it. It can be used with polymer, clay, plaster, wax, soap, chocolate, butter, fondant, gum paste. To find out more information, you can go to www.moldputty.com. And by the way, this is not a promotional video. I just love this product so much. But this is my Barbie set that I was working on. The Barbie foil, I've still got to figure out, because she was not working for me. She was just not foiling. The foil was not foiling when I was trying to figure out the Barbie foil. But yeah, this is my Barbie set. I'm going to take some pictures and stuff, so I know this lighting's a little wild. I got to put all this nail art away. And yeah, let me clear this out because that's not the purpose of this video. So I'm not going to put all of these flowers away. I was just thinking, you know what? I'm going to use them and make some little molds out of them so that I could create my own flowers. Some of these flowers I feel like are so unique looking, and if I use them on nails and ruin them, I won't have that flower again. So I'm just going to go ahead and make some mold out of these cute little flowers. And there's a butterfly. And maybe a few other. I'm going to look through here and see what we could find to make molds with. I actually love to make my own molds, which I'm going to do with you in this video. But if there's anything that I'd like to make a mold with, I'm going to take it out. This butterfly I'm going to be making a mold with, but I already have one of those out. Alright guys, so we're going to be using this stuff right here. It's my favorite mold making, I don't know, putty, I guess, like ever. I love this stuff and I love making molds with it. So we're going to make a couple molds today. Excuse my voice because I woke up with my voice a little hoarse this morning. Bear with me, I apologize. And it's also super early in the morning. So good morning everyone. Good morning. Alright, so let's see. Alright guys, so this is the stuff that I use and I love it. I've been using it for years and I completely 100% recommend it. Now there are instructions on the back. I believe there are instructions inside as well. So here's just a quick example of a mold that I have made. There are two parts to Amazing Mold Putty, an A side and a B side. If you follow along, you'll be able to make it with me. It is really not that difficult at all. You're going to take the same amount that you use for A. You know, it's going to be the same amount that you use for B. You're going to mix them together until all of the white is not shown anymore. And then you've got to hurry up because it sets up, you know, it gets hard quickly. So you've got maybe a minute or two, possibly 3, to hurry up and get the mold together and press all of your items in. So I've got some bows that I only have maybe 1 or 2 of that I wanted to make some molds of. Here I have some butterflies that I thought were super cute. It's hard to find flat back butterflies. These 3 down here are kind of more detailed butterflies that I thought would be very beautiful to make molds of. So we're going to do that. There are so many flowers here that I want to make molds of, and there are so many tiny little flowers. So we'll probably make a few flower molds and then we'll see. So there are some roses here. I have more flowers over here. So we'll see. We'll probably make, like I said, we'll probably make a couple flower molds. Then I have these cute little candies here that I thought would be cute to make a sweets mold out of. I have a strawberry, a tiny little bear, and a heart that looks like it's on a kind of like a lollipop, excuse me, with a heart or a bow, not a heart. The heart's up here, but the bow's right in the middle. Here are some more flowers, and then I have a couple of hearts. I've tried to make a little heart mold before, and it just didn't come out correctly. So we're gonna try and make another little heart mold. Here I have some really cute flat back. You can't see them because they're clear, but once we get some color into the mold, you'll be able to see them a little bit better. So here are the items that we are going to be using. So let's start setting up the mold putty. This is what part A looks like. This is what part B looks like. You want to make sure that you have equal parts of both. And what we're going to do now is we're going to mix them together. So the yellow and white, you're going to mix them together until, you know, the mold is originally, or not originally, but eventually, not originally, eventually it's going to come out this light pale yellow color. So you want to mix and mix and mix until you see no more white, because you are going to see yellow. And like I said, you've got to be quick with this stuff. This is in real time, so this is how quickly I actually do this stuff. Okay, I'm going to cover these up. You don't even have time to do that. Excuse my nails, oh my goodness. Okay, so what, and I didn't even tell you, make sure that you have clean hands, because whatever dirt or, you know, oils that you have in your hands is going to transfer to your mold putty. And if you don't want anything funky looking in your mold putty, then I would suggest washing your hands. I like to just form a ball. I want to make sure that there are no kind of creases in it. Try to make sure that the mold is as kind of smooth as possible, right? So there are no cracks or bumps. We're gonna be quick. This is what it looks like. I like to work just on top of the bottle. I'm going to push it down with my finger just slightly so I can make a flat surface to push the pieces into. Now, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's just start with a flower mold. So I'm going to actually take the flower and I'm going to flip it around because I want the imprint of the flower to go face down into the mold. And you will see what I mean in just a minute. So I'm going to just do this really quickly. Now, there aren't many flowers that are going to go into this one because it is rather small. But I'm going to take different flowers. And I am going to, you know what, let me take a smaller one because that one was kind of big. I'm having a hard time gripping it. And we gotta hurry up before it sets up. Want to give some space in between them as well. Then you want to push down a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna grab a smaller flower right here. Maybe one more tiny flower. So we have two bigger flowers, two smaller ones. And you just want to make sure that they're not touching. Alright, so I'm going to get a little bit closer up so you can see kind of what it looks like. I'm actually going to take the top of this, turn it around, and I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit and push down. See that? Now we have a nice flat mold. And the pieces are nicely embedded. They're not sticking out. And that's how I make my molds. Pretty cool, huh? So you're going to leave this alone for a little bit for it to set up. You do not want to touch it for at least 15 to 20 minutes. If you can wait a little bit longer, great. You'll know that it is fully cured when it becomes kind of rubberized. Right now, if I were to stick something into it, you're going to make a dent in it. We have to make sure that it becomes kind of rubbery like this. So you want to make sure that you're giving it enough time to cure. So we're going to leave that alone and we're going to make a few more molds. So I just wanted to say really quickly, just be very careful where you put your items, the placement of the items. You don't want them sticking out the sides of the mold, and you also don't want the items to kind of be on top of each other or even touching, because each item has a individual space for, you know, for when you want to make a charm. So if any of the items kind of touch, you're going to ruin the mold. So just make sure that you have just enough space in between each item. I know it's kind of confusing, but if you follow along, you definitely will be able to achieve making these molds. I know sometimes people have a little bit of difficulties with making these molds, but I've been making these molds for so many years, so follow along and you should be able to make them too. One of my favorite things is to be making custom charms. I love to make my own charms. I love to be different. I love to make something that you won't see online or in a store. I think that's the beauty about nail art, that really nail art is just, there's no end to it. You can just keep going on and on and on. I mean, you can make different shaped charms. You can use different materials. You can put acrylic in these molds. You can put gel. You can put poly gel. You can put glitter. You know, you can make all different types of, you know, different colored charms. You can put things inside of the molds. You can put flowers in the molds. Really, the possibilities are endless. That's truly why I love to make my own nail art. Oh, and by the way, I just love to make circular molds. You do not have to make circular molds. As you can tell, you can make different shaped molds. I kind of just make the mold according to the shape of the item, if that makes any sense, and the size of it. I recommend it to like jewelry makers, people that see a beautiful piece and want to create their own piece for themselves, their own custom piece. I love seeing like a cute little nail art piece that I'm like, oh my god, you know, I want, I don't know, let's say you see a cute teddy bear or a butterfly, and you know those mixes that you might get from like a Temu or Amazon, those mixes with like 50 to 100 pieces, and then you go through it and there's like one or two of those pieces and you're like, man, you know, I wish there were a few more. Well, that's why I love making these molds, because you can just make a mold of that piece that you really love, that really is standing out to you, you know, and you can just continue to keep creating more and more and more of those pieces, different colors and different designs and glitters, and the possibilities are endless. This is why I love creating my own custom nail art. You guys have to try it. So I added a second flower here. If you had tinier flowers, you most definitely could add them to the edges. I think I might do that. Let's see if we can add another one here. Because, you know, I like to use up all the space we have. We don't want to, you know, kind of waste any real estate here. So let's go ahead and add a smaller one here. Just going to go ahead and push it. I'm not going to touch the silicone. I'm just touching the item gently and pushing it down. In a few minutes, I'll go back and kind of push these down again because they kind of like to come back up, and that's okay. That's why you just want to keep an eye on them. You just want to make sure that it is going to pick up the imprint or the image the best, right? So that's why we're kind of applying a little bit of pressure. Again, if you wanted to, you probably could add really tiny flowers or something else right through here. If you wanted to kind of etch your, I don't know, your YouTube name or your name or something into it, it'll hold in there. Your initials or something, I don't know, just in case you wanted to, if you wanted to do something like that, that's definitely possible. So right now we have 4 molds made. I might make one more on camera. And by the way, I will be doing a separate video on the reveal of these molds, so if you'd like to see me pull out the items of the molds and see, you know, if it worked, see the, you know, the imprint, see the actual image when I take out and release the items. If you'd like to see that, definitely stay tuned for the next video. I am sure, you know, it doesn't really matter, but I am sure to kind of rub out when the mold putty is still kind of, you know, going from kind of soft to becoming a harder material so that you can use it right in between there, when I am kind of done molding in, I have all the items in. Sometimes I'll use my fingers and kind of press around, because sometimes the items, if you press them hard enough, the items will kind of spread out the mold putty, and then the, how do I explain it? It'll kind of, the image will get wider. Okay, it'll get wider than the actual image, and you don't want that unless you want that. Most of the time, I do not want that. I don't think I've ever wanted that. So, you know, I wanted the size of the item. So I'm using my finger here to kind of make the mold not as wide as you can see. And I kind of closed the gaps there that were forming, because I was pushing the items in farther, which I want to do because the items seem to kind of come back up. So you just want to make sure that the items are pressed back down so you can get, you know, the full effect of the image. But just be careful, because if you do not want fingerprints in your mold, I would recommend to wear a glove. I was not wearing a glove, but I am sure to kind of rub out the fingerprints when I'm done. Like I said earlier, I will be making a separate video on the mold reveal. So if you'd like to see me pull out the items and see how the mold putty worked, definitely stay tuned for that. Here are the molds we have made. I am just checking with this tool just to see if they are done, and they are not done yet. They're still very shiny. They are allowing my tool to indent them, which is a huge sign that they are not done yet. This material ends up being like kind of like a rubbery material, so if you can stick your tool or your nail in it and it makes an indent, it is not ready yet. You need to leave them alone until they are done setting up. And so, but I like to gently check them and see how they're doing. And I also like to gently press on each item very gently, not hard at all, to just make sure that they're nice and pressed down into the mold, so that we are going to be able to pick up a nice image. So all of this nail art that you see here on screen, all of this nail art has been made by me. I have made custom molds, and I have made my own nail art with them. So this is full of nail art that I have made by myself with my own hands. None of this was bought. It was all created by me. So it is possible for you to make your own nail art. It definitely is. You can either buy molds online, or you can create molds yourself. Of course, you can just buy nail art, but I love to make nail art on my own. Get creative and make your own nail art, because it is so much fun. So once again, please stay tuned for the next video, because I am going to be doing a mold reveal. So all the molds that we made in this video, I am going to be taking out all of the items so that you can see how the mold putty works, how the images look after the items are pulled out. I want you to see all of that. So I'm going to do my best to be able, I'm going to do my best to show you on camera what those look like. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned for the next video. Alright, so this is going to be the end of the video. I am just showing you how to mix this stuff up again one more time. And I'm going to show you how thin or thick this stuff really needs to be, because you want it thick enough to be able to push your items in so that they don't poke through the other side. And you don't want it too thick, because I mean, you don't want to waste material, of course, but you want it thin enough. So of course, so you have to think about storing these things too. You don't want them too big. So this is about how thin I would make it. I wouldn't make it any thinner than that. Have so much fun with it. If you have watched this video so far, thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video. I truly appreciate you.